Hey, loves. So, I was talking to my younger brother earlier today about a revelation that the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, had given me about a month or two ago. And I don't know why I never made a video about it, because it really displays just how intricate Yahweh is in his planning, how detail oriented he is. And because the miracles in the Bible tend to overshadow everything, we kind of lose aspects of who he is because we're so focused on the wow factor. And rightly so, because they are miracles that are worth the awe and the wow. But there's so much more to him than just the miracles. And you kind of, when you start to have it revealed to you, because I had to have it revealed to me, so I'm not going to pretend like it's just something that you should be able to see. But when you do have these different things revealed to you, it kind of makes you see even more of who Yahweh is as a whole. Now, we can live for 1,000 years and still never even scratch the surface of who he is. He's infinite. He's been here for how long, and he'll be here for how long. I mean, he just is. But let me just get into it instead of babbling. All right, so think of the Ark of the Covenant. So the Ark of the Covenant was a cedar box, or I don't know if it was a cedar box, but it was a box that sat in the Holy of Holies, and at the top of it, it had cherubim that faced each other with their wings as though they were covering the center portion of the Ark of the Covenant, and that was considered the mercy seat. So if you think about how Yahweh told Moshe to furnish the tabernacle of meeting and the Holy of Holies, and how he told him how to build the Ark of the Covenant, so on and so forth. And then you look at some of the imagery that you see of heaven and the throne room of Yahweh in Revelation, it's very, very similar. So it kind of makes you think that he had him build it according to how his throne room currently is in heaven. So with that in mind, I have two different places I want to go with it. The first place I want to go with it is we learn in Ezekiel chapter 28 verse 14 that Satan is in fact a cherub who used to cover the throne of Yahweh. And it says, "You were the anointed cherub who covers. I established you. You were on the holy mountain of God. You walked back and forth in the midst of fiery stones." Now, I would recommend you go ahead and read starting from verse 11 all the way down to the end of the chapter, verse 24, if I'm not mistaken, to get a better context of what's going on. Because the beginning of the chapter, it does start off with Ezekiel talking to the king of Tyre, but then it morphs into him talking about Satan. So that kind of gives you just a brief synopsis of what's going on right here. So with that imagery in mind, I want you to now think about what we call the Last Supper. And no, I'm not talking about the famous painting with the long table and Yeshua sitting in the middle and there's chaos going on all around him. That is a very false imagery of what the Last Supper actually would have looked like. First and foremost, you have a U-shaped table that's called the triclinium. And the reason why it's called the triclinium is because you would actually recline on your left-hand side at this table, and you would have your feet sticking out so that the person that sat at the other end of the table, which would be the servant's seat, they are the one that was responsible for washing the feet of everybody that was at the table. This was actually the place where Peter was sitting at the table, which is why it caught him off guard that Yeshua was the one that actually got up to wash the feet. But we're not talking about Peter today. We're going to actually talking about the two people that were sitting on the side of Yeshua. So on the other side of the triclinium, on the opposite end of the table, you have John, Yeshua's favorite disciple. Then you have Yeshua. Then you have Judas, or Yehuda. The thing about the place where Judas was sitting is that is the seat of honor. that is actually a place where you would seat the guest of honor in his seat. And notice it's not the first or the second seat from the end, it's the third seat. But now I want you to look at how they are sitting. You have a disciple, you have God in the flesh, and then you have a disciple. Now, the reason why I want to bring this up is because go back to the Ark of the Covenant and go back to the fact that we know that Satan used to guard the throne of Yahweh as one of the cherubs, right? But he betrayed Yahweh by trying to take his glory. He betrayed him. And so he was kicked out. Now, when you go back to the picture of the triclinium with John, Yeshua, and then Judas, you have the same picture. You have a disciple on one side, God, then another disciple on the other side. And guess what? One of those disciples, just like one of the cherubs, betrayed God. So it's like Yahweh used this image to show us exactly what happened in heaven between him and Satan. He literally tells us what happened. He's telling us a story, and the story is in the detail, but we're so caught up all the time in the big flashing miracles, and we're oohing and we're awing that we're missing the details. As a matter of fact, in that same exchange, we actually see Yeshua tell Hasatan, after Satan enters into Judas, he says, what you do quickly. So if you look at Yochanan or John 13, starting in verse 26, it says, Jesus answered, it is he to whom I shall give a piece of bread when I have dipped it. And having dipped the bread, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. Now after the piece of bread, Satan entered him. Then Jesus said to him, what you do quickly. So it's literally Satan being Satan. And Yahweh, knowing the nature of Satan, he sets up the same scene that already happened in heaven. And he knew that Satan was going to take that opportunity to do the same thing that he had already done. But Yahweh had a plan. Yahweh had a plan, and he allowed what Satan did to work in our benefit. Because if Satan hadn't entered into Judas and Judas went and turned Yeshua in, none of us could have salvation right about now. Do you see how magnificent and worthy to be praised our Father is? And we miss these details because we're so busy looking at how many people he raised from the dead and how many people he fed with 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. And we're missing these details. And I promise you, Ruach HaKodesh showing it to me was like, whoa. So now I'm sitting and I'm looking like, what else are we missing? What else has he been trying to show us and tell us that we're just missing? And there's quite a bit. I have more. I'm not going to overwhelm you with it right now. But yeah, I'm just going to let you guys marinate on that. Tell me what you think in the comments. And hopefully this will inspire you to start really seeking Abba. Not necessarily seeking his word. Yes, read and study his word, but seek him. One of my prayers I ask him all the time, show me who you are. Show me who you are. And he has been consistently doing that. Now, I am going to ask that those of you who are children of Yahweh to go ahead and pray for me. I have been underneath some tremendous spiritual warfare, and I'm not above asking for prayer. It's come to that point where I feel like I need to ask for prayer. So, yeah, I love you guys. And until next time, Shalom Aleichem.